I wasn't going to sit here and stare at you guys waiting for another 2 minutes. I apologize. Plus, it gives people a chance to get in. So, Tuesday, planned to do this yesterday, but things just didn't work out that way. Um, I'm still getting used to the time difference and everything, so I apologize for that. I also apologize for the audio quality. I have to use my phone wirelessly to my computer to use Restream properly. So if there's any audio artifacts, if the video's not looking right, please tell me in chat, and we'll get it all figured out. Okay. But as it is, I'm pretty stoked to be here and be as close to regular form as possible. All right. So with that said, let me catch up with chat here while we're waiting for other folks to come in. I see John figuratively speaking. I see Mr. Largo's Lair, who's got some good comments. I'm going to star up here so I don't forget them. I see Bjorn, and I see Boba Hicks. Greetings, greetings, and everyone's saying hello to everybody. If you can see and hear me, please acknowledge me in chat. I need to make sure I'm actually transmitting. It looks like I am. I don't see any reason to believe that I wouldn't be. Looks like we're okay. But I want to make sure that you can actually fucking hear me. Okay, looks like it is going. Alright, cool. Good, good, good. So yeah, we have some stuff to talk about today with regards to Big Bed and a couple other things and whatnot and what have yous. Obviously, we want to catch up with each other before we dive in, so to speak. Portland is still Portland. It's chugging along. Ah, yes. Mr. Bohick says, I can see and hear you. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. And, thanks for being here so late. It's a weekday. I know it's a school night. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And Largo is saying that my fuzzy face is loud and clear and coming through. Okay, alright. Cool. I had to mess with some settings to make sure that we didn't get any lag and anything else, and which was pretty easy because of the fact that Restream only transmits at 720. So I was like, well, if I just limit my camera to that, everything should work out really, really well. And so far it is. So it's things are good here. I think I may have mentioned on the last stream that we did, the catch up one, that my right knee's been bugging me since before we got here, but since we got here certainly, and the stairs and everything. For the most part, it's getting better, but some days are better than others. It's a lot of this I think comes down to I probably tweaked it at some point and didn't really realize it, and trying to use it and let it heal and everything else, and move and the stairs and everything else with just not using my body the way that I could and should has taken a toll. So I'm much more mobile than I used to be, but I'm still not as mobile as I can already feel I'm capable of because the damn knee just doesn't want to quite be right. So that has slowed down unpacking significantly. But we were able to get the kitchen completely done. We've got a fair amount of boxes down here in the living room to get done. But beyond that, things are going really well here overall. Very happy. And got a new toy to show off in a little bit here too. Largo wants to know if I've been to Voodoo Donuts yet. I have not. Everyone here says that Voodoo Donuts is gimmicky and touristy at this point. And they argue for what Voodoo Donuts is known for, it's not even that good, they're saying. And I tend to agree with my fellow Oregonians at this point. I have found my place, and they're basically a Dunkin' Donuts clone, and they're awesome. And I'll stick with them, but I'll eventually make my way to Voodoo just to see what's going on and make my own opinion at that point. Yeah. Largo says, gravity's a bitch, everything hurts after 45 or so. You're not wrong about that. That's for sure. But both Lauren and I are feeling literally lighter and figuratively as well. Things are good. Things are good. It's just, settling in is just taking longer than either of us would probably like. I hate being surrounded by boxes and chaos. And she's not much of a fan of it either. But what we're finding is that the slower pace of unpacking has allowed us to acclimate to what we do unpack and how we live better. Um, we're using the kitchen more. It's staying clean longer. Living room is staying more organized and cleaner longer, which I'm really happy about. So we're really happy about just that slow acclimation of everything. And it'll be worth it in the end. You know, I would love to snap my fingers, Thanos style, and have everything just be unpacked and hooked up and everything, but it just doesn't work that way. Um, Went to see the family last week for dinner, and that was great. Really had a good time. It was great to see them. We got invited out to Top Golf on Sunday, and we were trying to get stuff done, so we had to pass it up. But I thought it was funny because if you know me, you know that I hate golf in all of its forms except for putt putt. Uh, but it still would have been fun to hang out, have a couple beers, and chill. It's the whole thing. Largo says Boxes of Chaos would be a cool name for a band. Well, it's a little too close to Blades of Chaos, which is the primary weapon of Kratos in the God of War series. But aside from that, I tend to agree. Um, so things are good here. Just not quite getting up to speed, and I can't, in good conscience, just stay silent all the time. Um, I need this connection to you guys as much as you probably miss me. And even though I don't have things set up in the studio, the office studio, the way that I want, well, spoilers, nothing in the office is set up. And the toy room hasn't been touched either. So I just got to continue doing this until such time as we're in a better spot. I haven't found any of my appropriate mics. I'm probably going to get some upgraded mics here the next week or so, just so when we're doing this or I'm recording a short or whatever, there's something that's a little bit better quality than just the phone by itself. We're working on it. We'll get there. Largo asks if I'll be doing the usual Turkey Day stream. I would like to. It all comes down to what time we're expected to be at the in-laws for Thanksgiving. I will do something. On Thanksgiving. I don't know that it'll end up being in the morning or if it'll end up being in the evening when we get back. I honestly have no idea. It'll be in the morning, just because that's what I have traditionally done in the past. But it will be here on the phone. It won't be. I might be able to do a regular webcam to this computer. That might be something I can do. I don't know if the cord will reach reliably, but if I can, I will. So yeah, we'll try to get that done for you guys as well. So, Big Bad, let's talk about this whole grading thing, huh? It's a thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Big Bad Toy Store announced yesterday that they are getting together with an independent grading company, and what they're doing is they're taking away their collector's grade option and replacing it with something that is you pay for this service, and they'll take the very most pristine package and send it to the grading company, who will then turn around, which means you'll get your brand new will arrive in acrylic. You never get to touch it ever. This is my opinion about grading. I've been clear about this in the past, and I have little reason to believe that it'll ever change. I think that placing your collectibles in acrylic is ill-advised, period. I think it's a waste of money. Just placing it in an acrylic case, I think that's a waste of money. However, I understand why it's done. If you're an in-package collector, you have something that's truly vintage, that has value, and you want to preserve it. I understand that, and I can appreciate it. It's just not for me. The grading process is so arbitrary and been proven to be just full of shit. I think it's a complete racket, and the fact that they're participating in this really irks me. Still not as much as Entertainment Earth irks me, so there's that. Try to even remotely a dive on what they're currently doing. I do want to talk about something that Boba Hicks brought to my attention today. He had mentioned that he's been shopping with them for a very long time, and that 10 or so years ago, they did offer their own grading service of sorts. It was in-house. It was something that they offered. And that they also, at a certain point, were selling vintage toys, reselling vintage toys in addition to new stuff, too. It was interesting. So they've dabbled in this in the past. Clearly, it wasn't something that... It must not have been working very well, or wasn't very popular, and otherwise they wouldn't have stopped doing it, I would expect. But here we are in 2025, and they're trying something a little bit different. Largo says, it's the antithesis of play and display philosophy. I agree, but not everyone displays that way. Like even friends of ours, like they'll have like shelves of just, like I see way too many things of, and again, this is my preference, Black Series or G.I. Joe Classifieds, where all you see is the side of the box indicate they have all the numbers in order. That just blows my mind. You know, I don't think toys should be displayed the same way you display a book or a video game or a movie or a CD or a vinyl. I think that the essence of the toy is that it's three-dimensional. You should be able to see it in its glory. But for those that are package collectors, if that's the only way you can keep them, I understand that too. I get it. There's reasons for all this. But the grading just really, it's weird for me. So let me go ahead and show you what they sent out here. So this is their grading tiers. They have Big Bad Toy Store Mint, Mint Pro, and then CAS graded and cased. So Big Bad Toy Store Mint is currently standard, right? They just upgrade the name. So it says product is brand new and in factory original condition. Packaging is case fresh but may have minor flaws, suitable for display or opening. And they'll pack it in a custom size reinforced corrugate box with bubble wrap, which is what they do now. The verbiage of the email they sent along with the video that they put out, and this seems to indicate to me they're going to be a little bit more diligent about packaging, but we'll see. We'll see. Mint Pro is virtually flawless packaging, so that's their previous collector's grade. Inspected, verified by 2 people, ideal for display in a collection. Items are individually polybagged and double boxed to protect every corner. I can imagine that's going to add up real fast, but I can see in certain situations why you might want certain toys handled that way. Okay, that's a nice upgrade. Like for example, had I gotten an Eternia through Big Bad, that would have been the option I would have chosen. Just like wrap her up. You know, that would have been cool. And so it's nice to have that option. So if it's something that I think that for a lot of people, they might gravitate towards this for things that are extra fragile or just very special to them, and make sure that it arrives that much safer. Okay, so it's good that it's there, but it's going to cost money. So I'm like, you know, but everything costs money now, right? But then we go to the CAS graded and cased. This is an independently certified, uncirculated product, pristine graded packaging, includes CAS official grading certificates. You get a piece of paper with it. And then it's a custom-built, tamper-proof acrylic case that blocks up to 85% of harmful UV light, and that's more or less what they're pimping here. Okay, so if you're into this stuff, I understand why this would be appealing. Again, this is not appealing to moi. Um, Largo says it would be nice if they went the other way. Also, discounts for damaged packaging like Val's Heroes. They have in the past done substandard packaging, but apparently that's just not going to be a thing anymore for whatever reason. I'm guessing that's going to go back to. I don't. I honestly don't know that for sure, but they have done that in the past. Just traditionally, there's not a lot of stuff. Nerdzoic does that, and sure, Valaverse does that too. Um, I think it's easier for Valaverse to do that because he's direct from the factory as opposed to Big Bad, who's getting direct from manufacturers. And in some cases, they're coming direct from factory, but it's a totally different thing. I don't think it's apples to apples when we're talking about Valaverse versus Big Bad. So let's not get too deep in here. But I do want to come back to a couple comments here. Largo says, I didn't like it when they started putting comics in slabs of plastic in grading condition, but it kind of made sense for vintage comics that deteriorate over time. I agree with that. I don't like it, but I understand why they would do it. And then he expands and says, putting toys in Tupperware and never playing or displaying out of the package, that's that bougie bullshit speculators do to preserve value on an investment. Yeah, I think generally speaking, um, when we think about Big Bad Toy Store, when we think of what they represent today in the marketplace, right? They're selling new toys, brand new retail toys, right? So, like, this is an example. I got this from Walmart over the weekend. They had a flash sale. It's a Masterverse Skeletor in the vintage. It's just beautiful. Back to him a little bit later. Okay. Um, I'm dying to pull this guy out of the package, and if we have time and you ask me nicely, I'll probably unbox them, depackage them right here on stream. That's the new way of the world here in Grind HQ. Boys, I depackaged a lot of toys, and anything I didn't depackage is getting depackaged when we pull it out of the bin right away. For the simple fact that I am so over packaging. Um, I'm keeping my Motu Origins boxes and everything, for display purposes and stuff, but everything. Yeah, that's stupid. I don't know why the hell that happened. I apologize. Um, I I honestly don't know what happened there. Um, that's rude. I apologize. So that just tells me that I need to find a way to get my other cam hooked up for the next time we do this because I'm not dealing with this wireless shit anymore. My apologies, gents. My apologies. Acronell joining us says, "How about donuts? I love donuts. We got good donuts here in Portland. It's good stuff." Um, and Ozzy is here. Good to see you. It says apples. I like apples. Acronell says, "This is why we hate high tech." I love high tech. I love it when it works, and it should just work. Um, but that's okay. Acronell says, "Donuts are my job now." Fair enough. Just so you're aware, we are co-streaming, multi-streaming, simulcasting, whatever word you want to use, on YouTube and Twitch. So if Acronell is a little lonesome, by all means come over here on YouTube. But I just want to make sure everyone can see, hello, and hear. But now everything appears to be working okay, which is good. And I know what to do if it disconnects again. It should be a lot faster next time. So, but like I was saying, like just when it comes to, there's certainly a market for this. There's a reason that they're doing it, and obviously it's to make money, right? Um, but this Skeletor, that the bring up as an example, I can't imagine if it would have arrived to me already in acrylic. Like I feel like the dopamine hit would have been really deadened to get a toy just in acrylic, never having had the option of touching it, you know. And sure, there's vintage toys. I can understand this to a degree, but I got that on a flash sale for $15. Normally a $35 figure, depending upon where you buy it. Because Masterverse gets marked up like that. But I got it for $15, and because I'm in Oregon, there's no state tax or no sales tax, and there's no freaking, like, the shipping was nothing because I have Walmart Plus. So $15 for that was a no-brainer. And he's the best looking Masterverse Skeletor they've ever done. It's going to go on my nicer display, my office display. I'm very much looking forward to it. But I can't understand this concept at all. I really can't. Not why a business would choose it to make money, and not necessarily why someone would want something graded, but the idea of, like Acronell is saying, pre-rated toys, no. I agree with that. It's like to take all of the visceral fun of taking a toy out of a package, to take all of that away, and for someone to pay another person to deprive you of that blows my mind completely. And as I was trying to point out before the camera turned off, like a modern toy, like, to me, this is a great toy, but obviously there's a reason it was on clearance. It wasn't selling that great, for whatever reason. Think about other things that kind of flopped in recent memory. Like the Real Ghostbusters reissues did not sell that great at first. And then they started going on clearances, and like Nerdzoic famously put a lot of those bundles out, and Big Bad followed suit, and we were able to get everything in that collection for really inexpensively. Now imagine that this service was available at the time, and you got all of those toys in acrylic, paid out the wazoo, and 3 months later someone's like, well, I can get all of the Ghostbusters plus the Ecto for less than $100. And you're like, what? Meanwhile, you're out probably close to $300, and you have something that's preserved in acrylic that isn't worth shit. That's to me like. Okay, so Acronell says the issue here for him is how do you determine there's no issue with the product with being prior to even getting it? Well, that's the thing. It's not on you. This is through Big Bad Toy Store, and they're having it independently looked at by two separate people. Then they get it, done. I I agree though, because what if I don't want it to be perfect, or what if I want to make sure that it's perfect for myself? I think as part of that service, you probably should be sending pictures and saying, "Is this the one? Is this satisfactory?" But I understand why they wouldn't do that because maybe they only have so many that are set aside for that purpose. But what I saw a lot of comments on the original announcement, and it's particularly on YouTube and also on social media, people saying like, "Well, if you're going to reserve all the really pristine stuff for this service, everyone else is going to get substandard stuff." And I agree. I think it's stupid. Typically speaking, I've gotten really good uh, stuff from Big Bad, like really good. But the last couple of months, mostly this year, I don't know who's doing their packing these days, but it's a lot more haphazard than I remember it when I first started collecting. And I mean, for me, it's not a huge issue, generally speaking. But I've noticed a difference, and I don't like it. So for now, I need to come out and say, "Well, we're going to charge you to make sure it's in good condition." Like, no, that's what I fucking pay you for in the first place. You already mark up your prices. Stop this shit. It's bullshit. Um, Akron talking about he's worried if there's some insane misprint or unintentional error, and you may never see it. Well, if it's in acrylic, you'll be able to see it. That's all you can do is see it. Largo says, toys aren't good investments. Funko Pops that folks lined up in boxes on toy shelves are now going to fill landfills. Probably. I mean, sure, you could argue that Funko Pops are the latest version of Beanie Babies and stuff like that, and while I think that's true, if that really made people happy, then who cares? Who cares? The company looks like they're about to go under, and I feel bad for everyone that works there and anyone that collects their stuff, because it's like if you really enjoy that stuff and that's going away, like that can hurt. It's very easy for me to make fun of Funko Pops as a concept and as a product, but it's also easy for people to make fun of the stuff that I like too. And if I didn't have a way to get the stuff that I like, that would hurt. So I try to extend some compassion to my fellow collectors. And while I may not call them toy collectors because Funko Pops are not toys, they're just as valid of a hobbyist as anybody else. I don't care what anyone says. People collect inert things all the time. Mom was a big Precious Moments person. Some people did Beanie Babies. Some people did baseball cards. It's just a piece of paper. A comic book is a bunch of paper stapled together. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? So I can't imagine someone ordering a Funko Pop and putting it in acrylic, though. I think that's stupid. But there's someone out there that would do it if they were given the option. And some people put them in those protectors. Okay, that's fine. The very few that I have are loose and proudly displayed because they remind me of a certain time in life or the people that gifted them. That's what these collections are supposed to do. So I can't really think about... I can't process the person who's buying modern toys and like they're buying everything like that. I can't think of too many examples of stuff that is coming out now that I could go, oh, you should put that in acrylic. Maybe some of the more expensive stuff, maybe like SH Figure Arts or Monster Art stuff, maybe. But even then, it's like, come on. Come on. Largo says, I would never make fun of your secret My Little Pony collection. You're thinking of Stu. I don't do My Little Pony. If My Little Pony showed up, when I find a place for it, sure. My thing's Care Bears, fucker. Get it right. But yeah. It's nuts. Even something that has a perceived uh, prestige to it. Pardon me. Like these mask reissues. I can see someone maybe getting those and putting it in acrylic because it's just a box. So like, say you already have like the Thunderhawk, the vintage one, loose and complete, and that's what you display. Well, I can kind of see maybe getting the new one in box, in a. Like I kind of can dig that because if that's the way you want to display it, like with the box, and also preserve the card back part that sticks up on some of these. I get it. Like, if you're going to display it that way, it's nice to have a protector on it. But the amount that these acrylic custom case things cost is so ridiculous. It's not practical. It's not practical at all. And I just can't figure out like who this is for. That's why the title of the actual stream, not on the title card, but on the actual title here is, who asked for this? Like, I really feel like there's a reason that this didn't the first time they did it. And in the U.S. and globally, the economy is all over the fucking place. Tariffs are all over the place. People are struggling to keep up with the hobby as it is. And I don't know that there's a ton of people who are like, what? Better put my stuff in clear acrylic. Like, I just don't think, even the people that would be interested in this probably don't have the budget to do it right now. I can't figure out why this is a thing now. For the life of me. Perhaps this is an attempt to bring customers over from some competitor, or perhaps it's meant as a way to boost both grading and toy sales. I don't know what they're trying to do. But if you're struggling to make sales quotas, or you're trying to make ends meet as a business, and y'all can on this if I'm wrong, but I can't think of a single business that saved themselves from economic hardship by offering more expensive products. You see what I'm saying? Like, that'd be like saying Coca-Cola's having a hard time selling 12-ounce cans, so we're going to raise the price by 50%. But you'll get, each one has its own plastic bag that it comes in when you open the case. I don't get it. Gojatron just got here, and he says that professionally grading anything is a waste of money. I agree. I think it's just a complete waste of money. The acrylic case protection aspect of it, without grading, I can understand for some stuff. And that should not be as expensive as it is. There's no reason for that. If you have like a vintage comic book you want to keep in a case, albeit a case you can open up when you want to, I think that's fine. I think it makes sense. It's certainly a good way to display things if you have like really important issues. Baseball cards to a certain degree, I can understand that. And certainly packaged toys, I can understand. Like, if you want to put something in a acrylic case to preserve it, I think there's an argument to be made for that, if that's what you want to do. But the grading part of this, complete and utter fuck. Just there's no reason for it. Because a friend of mine bought a graded toy on a video recently, and I was like, ugh. Now, it's the only grade anything he's ever bought and probably ever will buy. It was the first G.I. Joe he ever got. He's been looking for a carded example of this character specific to when it was first released, in good condition. And he paid a lot of money for it. More than I think he should have paid. He paid more than he thought he should have paid to a certain degree. But I'm glad he has what he has. I think the entire, yep, this is a 85 or a 90 or this is a 73. Like, that's all bullshit. It's all subjective. Because because here's the thing: if you're going to be a professional grader, you should have to every 6 months prove you have 20/20 vision, have a hearing test, smelling test, all this stuff. All your senses should be proven to be objectively perfect. Otherwise, you don't have the tool set to determine if something is in pristine condition. Also, how can you prove that things aren't resealed? How do we know you have training in spotting counterfeits and all this stuff that would go into it? I have no basis of faith to these people. It's a racket. Acrylic prices went up during the pandemic, and they continue to be high. However, even then, I'm looking at pre-made acrylic products like some of the toy shells that I employ. They're not that expensive. And when it comes to like making stuff out of acrylic, it's a very easy material to work with. And sure, you're paying for labor, stuff like that. But the grading, how do you justify the price of that process, right? Like, how does that happen? You know what I mean? I don't know. Does it take approximately 10 minutes to grade something, an hour a day? How many people are agreeing on that score? It's all bullshit. It's guesswork. It's just a way of increasing revenue stream. So I think, if anything, it's Big Bad going, well, probably the grading company approached them and said, what if we offered this service through you guys and we gave you a percentage? It's easy to take a percentage off of something that inherently has no value. I think that's hilarious, personally. Our guy's going to look at it and go, yep, that's new. And then, because again, these are things that, these are not vintage toys that are being fine-tooth combed, put under a microscope. These are brand new toys that are like, yep, this package is perfect. And they wipe it off, put an acrylic case, slap 100 on it, and that's that. Because based upon that graphic we just looked at, 2 people have to approve the package, the packaging as flawless. So if it's flawless, that's 100, right? Has to be, doesn't it? If the number's anything but 100, then the entire premise of the service is whack as fuck. So you don't need a professional once it gets to the grading place. They just have a pre-labeled 100 acrylic case, shove the toy in it, and ship it back to you. And, if memory serves, for standard size cases, so like they're going to make cases that fit specific box types that are going to work, right? So like they make the Star Wars cases in bulk. They make the Motu cases in bulk, and so on and so forth. I think that'll especially be true with these modern ones that they're doing. So they're paying pennies on the dollar versus a single graded case. So around $100 to $200 costing. Even if it was down to $50, 25 for nothing, for just a guy going stealing a case. And let's say that Big Bad gets 20% of that. So on a bare minimum, they're making $5 more per product at the $25 price point. If it's $50, they're making $10, so on and so forth, right? So for Big Bad, there's very little work they have to do extra to make this happen. And they're just going to make money. So I think that's why they're doing it. But I think, again, it's tone deaf, because I haven't heard of anyone who's saying at this time and point in history, I'm going to spend more on toys now. You don't hear that. Even those of us with means are slowing down because toy lines are slowing down with modern stuff. And we're going in different directions, or we're just curating, or whatever. I don't get this. Like, this doesn't... I don't understand where this decision comes from. Cotatron says, between toy manufacturing and now grading, I think Big Bad Toy Store is exploring as many new revenue streams as possible as a defense against toy sales eventually falling. I think you're right. I think they should be diversifying a lot wider. I think that they should be doing it a lot wider. The toy manufacturing thing, I think, was probably a bit of a pipe dream, and I can understand that. And they're in over their heads a little bit with that, and I can understand that too, obviously. This grading thing, it's just a revenue stream, like you say. I agree. But I think there's other things they could probably bust out into doing. They should go back to reselling vintage toys. Because Boba Hicks told me that this morning. Like, they used to resell vintage toys. Like, that's a great idea. If they have the means, they have a great shipping system. They have a great warehouse. You know, like, I don't recall ever having an issue with Big Bad. Like, as far as, like, I order it, it arrives, a pilot loot it, they ship it, I get it. You know, only a couple times last year where I was like, did you really have to pack the box like this, buddy? You know, but nothing was damaged, ever. And customer service has been good when I've needed it, and I've needed it very few times. So I think if they were to take that model and just be a virtual toy store, like your Toy Federation or Attorney of Dreams or Dallas Vintage Toys or Dr. Tongue's, you know, and sell vintage toys, I think that's a surefire way to make money. But it's difficult because where they're up in Wisconsin. And I don't know how good the toy scene is up there. I really have no idea. But they're not far from Chicago. I know the toy scene up there is pretty good. So I think that would make more sense, especially with them partnering with this grading service. So maybe, this is just pure speculation, I am basing this on nothing factual, maybe this is the precursor to them firing up vintage toy sales again. Because if they're offering grading through a third party as part of their service, that could make a little bit more sense. It would bring more sense to what they're doing now and expand things. But I don't claim to understand or know exactly what's on their minds, but that would make sense to me. You know, if it wasn't so cost prohibitive, like those real thin, like bendy protectors, like they're almost like those old plasticky, like almost vinyl, real thin binders you'd get, 3-ring binders you'd get for school. They aren't rigid, they're flexible, right? That, but clear plastic. If they weren't so damn expensive, I would love to get those for all of the boxes that I do intend to keep. I would love that. But when those things are costing you 50, 60, $70, I think that's ridiculous. But you're also having to pay someone for labor and stuff like that. Um, but I think there are enough standard box sizes at this point that they could probably get away with it being cheaper. I would be more interested in that. Let me get a box that's going to fit, or an acrylic cover that's going to fit, a Battle Cat box, or a Battlefield Warriors box, or a McFarlane Supermobile box, whatever. Aussie is in both places, many places at once. Yes, yes, yes. But I think that's a service that I think a larger company should be looking at doing. Um, Even Mattel themselves, recognizing the market for collectors. Why aren't you making protectors for your shit, dude? You know, um, especially for as much as they're charging for Mattel Creations figures. It's like you can't just put a clear slip cover in there. So you have the shipper box, and then the collector-friendly packaging is inside a little, just the same size as the shipper box, just clear, flexible plastic, just to protect it a little bit more. Do I need that in my life for those? No, I don't need that. But it'd be nice for some of them, or as an alternative. So, because I have a lot of all those figures are coming out of their packages, and they're going to be fighting alongside all their buddies. But I would love to display the card backs in the packaging, and give me something I can just hang up or something, you know. Um, I'm grasping straws here, trying to find some happy medium between what Big Bad's already doing and where I think are bigger holes to fill in the potholes of collecting right now. But again, it's most people don't have the same disposable budget they had a year, 2 years ago, let alone 6 or 7. So the whole concept of this being a way to get a revenue stream just does not make sense to me at all. But I'm kind of talking in circles at this point. So, do you guys have any differing thoughts? Do you have any follow-up questions, or just want to shoot the shit? That's what I'm here for the next few minutes while we wrap up. That's all I got on the Big Bad thing. Mask stuff got delayed, and I was actually happy to hear that, because it's well, now I don't have to worry about it ruining my Christmas or anything. That was going to be a lot of money we'd have to spend. We're trying to minimize the amount of money we're spending between now and the first of the year. Oh, this is a fun piece of news. I got my driver's license. I got my permanent driver's license. I'm a real boy now here in Oregon, which is cool. And guys, I haven't had a valid ID since May of this year, because my driver's license expired. So I relied on Lauren for anything requiring ID, and that sucked. I don't like doing that. I don't like putting that on her. And then, of course, you can't drive legally, blah, 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 blah. So to have that now is super cool, because it makes it really real that we're here and that it's permanent. And it makes it really real that, the government can try me now or whatever, right? Still don't have one of those fucking real IDs. I'll eventually get one of those. I just was not in a hurry for that shit. I don't plan on flying anytime soon. But, we're going to get passports and stuff like that. But to get that in the mail was so cool. So cool. Just to be able to have that be one more indication of this is really happening, this is real. Isn't this cool, right? Largo says, we always knew you were certifiable, and now you have a card to prove it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Um, but hey, what can you do? It, like I said in a social media post not long after we got here, it's like everything moves at a slower pace here in a good way, and neighbors are friendly, and there's not a lot of noise, and I don't feel like every noise I hear is inevitably going to end in someone knocking on my door. I was very paranoid in Texas um, for a long time. Like I just didn't trust that place we were in, and part of it was I was always constantly on guard in the hotel too, because even though you're paying them hundreds of dollars in advance to stay for multiple days, weeks, whatever, it's not a lease. They can pull you out of that room any fucking time they want. So for several years, I lived with a lot of paranoia about my place to live, and this place is the complete opposite of that. I'm so much happier being here. I'm looking forward to streaming not from my couch. I miss streaming from my office or from my toy room. And that's it's gonna come. It's gonna come. And once the office is done, that'll be the de facto place. But if I feel like going down and working on stuff, I'll stream from the toy room. Because you guys don't have to wait for the toy room to be done for me to make content from it. Because the content is immediately placed up. So we just have to get down there with a cart, move boxes and stuff around, move the shelves where they're supposed to be, set up the folding tables, and then once that's done, it's like, okay, then I just gotta find the appropriate boxes. So like basically attorney, the box goes up on the table, and that'll be the first thing that we do down there. I'm looking forward to it, like really hard, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and with that. That's really all I had to say today. I really appreciate you guys joining me today. And Godzilla willing, I'll be able to get things sorted out with cameras and mics for next week, and it'll look and sound even better. And hopefully it'll be on Monday as opposed to Tuesday. We'll see. It just all depends upon other stuff happening. Largo says, home ownership is a mixed blessing of maintenance and security. Yeah. You're not wrong, buddy. I basically just threw $200 in the fire the first week we were here because, I'm not joking, the furnace runs off of a light switch in here. Yeah. I didn't have any concept of that at all. We got an HVAC guy out here, told him what the problem was. We couldn't get the furnace to kick on. He goes downstairs, goes in there within seconds. Suddenly the furnace kicks on, and he came back up, told us what was going on. He says, "I don't like the fact that that's on a light switch." I'm like, so we have to get that rewired. But he also did maintenance on the system, made sure everything was taken care of and whatnot, which was going to need to be done anyway, and he changed our filter as well. So it wasn't a waste of money, but had I known that the furnace was attached to a light switch, I would have gone, ooh, would have been fine. So, but that, like I say, it's homeownership. And Largo says that he loves my fuzzy face. Tell family said, howdy, Jasper's over here. Hey, Jasper. Largo says, hi. And then Lauren and Momo will be down after the show, and I'll tell them you said the same thing. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week. So until then, take care of yourselves.